got to have a concept. You have a great concept.
Hey everybody, let's see if this works. Sorry, I'm doing a bunch of different things in the back end and just got off of work. Well, welcome in, Champ. Welcome in, Andy. We were actually just watching Andy play some games earlier. And let me just do the Andy and the Champ commands. And just doing a couple things behind the scenes. But hopefully you guys are doing well. Andy had a great stream earlier. It was fun to see him do a little bit of gaming. Um, and if you want to let people know what the name of that game was, I've already forgotten. But it was cool to watch. It was kind of like a RPG medieval kind of game. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So I'm just doing a couple things behind the scenes here. I haven't done a video editing stream in a little while. Um, but hopefully you guys are all doing well. Hopefully you had a good day at work, Champ. Let me see if I click this button and this button, and then go into this screen, and then do that. I think that works for you guys to see me and also get to hear the audio of this. So that will be a test. Do, 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 do. Welcome on in, Tina. Awesome. Thank you guys for joining in. I know this is a pop-up that I gave zero notice that I was going to do or whatever. It's been good. Let me check out my Zoom audio levels. I feel like I'm coming in a little bit low comparatively. Hold on. Settings, audio, test. It's not so bad. Let me know if I'm hard to hear or if the music is too loud. I'll try to make adjustments on the fly. So you can see here is the last project that I was working on that I just released a couple of weeks ago. I'm kind of behind on doing some of the work that I wanted to do. So I was going to use this time to try to create the latest project here. Let's create a new project. Actually, sorry, I have to create a new event. And it's going to be 2025 Dive Day 6. And alright, I'm going to do it this way. Okay. All right. So I'm going to try to consolidate some of my project files because people don't know that when you're trying to render a 4K video, it takes a lot of background render files. I have 2 terabytes on this machine, and it uses about a terabyte of data to render these 4K video files. So I then have to go back to some of my previous ones and delete the generated project files for those. And then that way I get the scratch space back. Scratch space is like the render space that it's working with. I'll delete all of these. And actually, let me make sure that this is generated. Let me make sure that I click the all and all of this. So sorry for doing some stuff in the back end, trying to delete all the right files and get myself some space back here. And all right, we're gonna do a new project, And we're gonna call this final video of the 2025 24 project. All right, we're gonna do this in 4K. It's a pretty high resolution right there. There's a lot of different choices. A GPU would probably cut down a lot of some of that memory usage. Yeah, so the problem is I'm doing this on a MacBook Pro laptop. So on a desktop, you get a lot of other abilities. There is a GPU built into the Mac, but it's hardwired in, and it's not like an external one. Yeah, right now I'm actually using all my computers. I'm watching you guys on my work machine because it's got a bigger screen. I'm working off of my laptop, which is why the camera isn't quite as good as it usually is, but I figured that was not the highest priority. And then over there you can see I'm streaming from my Stream PC, sending all of this out to everybody. All right, so let's go in. I'm going to grab some of the project files from this one. Oh yeah, I just realized it wasn't day 6. This is part 2 of this day. All right, so the first dive that we saw was the wreck of the Oro Verde, and that one is the same dive site that I've now gone to 5 different times since 2018 and been documenting it. There is a playlist on my YouTube channel that you can watch at that place change over time, which is really cool. A lot of Windows machines use integrated graphics. That's true. And so I'm going to just bring this over here, and this is just going to be way too much footage, but it's going to be everything we shot in Dive 2, all unedited, and we can start to scrub through some of this to start to find what we're going to do for this project. And over here in my notes, just looking at the songs we want to include. And so let me just get those downloaded and put into the right spot here for that. And here we are. And here are those 2 songs. So if people are following along or might not realize, what we've done so far on this project is I really like Dan Tremblay's new album, Sunset Echoes. It's sort of a wide range of different tracks, and that are all sort of his ambient sound, but he's kind of put them together, and they sort of create a bit of a journey if you listen to them. I've taken them not necessarily in order. I've changed the order around of some of them because some of them fit certain dive sites better than others. But for the last few parts, I'm including the last couple of songs here. So that way, when I'm all said and done with this part 9 of the project, basically in 8 videos in this series, all except for the exception of the one vlog that we did where we went around Cayman with the family, and I did that to music from Sarah Cameron, who's also on Twitch, and so all the other songs are from this album, Sunset Echoes. And so what I wanted to do is include the very last 2 tracks of that album in this last video, so that way I can say I included the whole album in this. And I love last year where we got to kind of travel the world through the documentary. Each song was from a different continent, different country, a different group of people, all Twitch musicians, and that was really cool. I appreciate Andy for donating one of his time and one of his tracks for that. And same thing with Bula Acoustic and many others, and Dan was included in these. And what was kind of cool was he's been included for every video that we've done, specifically in the location that we were in the previous dive, which is the wreck of the Oro Verde. So it kind of, part 8 of this movie became part 5 of the Aura Verde series and part 3 of the Dan Tremblay Aura Verde series. So it's kind of cool. One of the things I studied in college was interactive video design, which the idea is kind of choose your own adventure books, but in video format. And that was my thesis in college. And so I like at the end of every YouTube video that I do in this dive series, it's a choose your own adventure. You can continue through the story in the current documentary you're on, like kind of the next chapter, or you can jump to a different, maybe that location in a different time, or another night dive if it was a night dive video, or that night dive the year before, or just there's a lot of different variations on it, and you can kind of change the direction in which you're going, and it can lead you in different directions. And so that way there's 56 videos, I think, in my scuba channel right now on that playlist, but I realize people aren't going to watch all of them, but it's kind of a cool way for them to jump around through different things. So in this story, we're telling the story of Sunset Echoes through the lens of this dive, but each dive is also different as well. So I'm going to do the final touches of this dive when I come back from my podcast. So we're taking next week off, which is the President's Day. And then the following week, hockey comes back, and I'll do an hour and a half sports show. And in the second half of that show, I wanted to try doing an art stream like we're doing right now. It's in fact the exact same thing. And so the song that we're going to choose right here are 2 Dan Tremblay songs. The entire length of the video I want it to be is approximately the length of both of them combined, so about 10 minutes. You can see right here just on the timeline of dropping just the footage that I've shot. Now, a lot of this, some of it I'll use, some of it I definitely won't, is 37 minutes. So you get a kind of a sense that it's going to, we have to basically trim 37 minutes of footage down to down to 10 minutes. So basically cut all the footage into a third, if you will. So we'll go through some of this footage here, try to find some of our favorite moments, and trim the fat. And then in that next stream, I'll do a lot more of the fine-tuned stuff, and do maybe some panning and zooming. I'll add the labels, I'll add the name of the dive site, the title of the thing, and the end credits as well. With the idea that hopefully between doing this short stream today, we're going to do this edit for about an hour, and the hour and a half of that next stream, that it'll either be done or nearly done. I thought that would be kind of a cool way to do it. Right now, I'm going to just show you the sort of the beginning footage of what we got, and you can sort of listen to some of the music, and we can kind of pare down and trim down some of it. So you can see here, I always shoot an opening. So I always shoot me jumping into the water. It's been kind of the constant one to start every one of the ones so far. So you can see here, I won't actually use the whole part of it. I'll just use that part. So we can back it up a little bit. And I'll put a little blade marker in here. I'm going to move the audio soundtrack basically to start there. And we're going to just chop this initial stuff right here that we don't really need. Oops. Didn't bring it far enough down. Okay, that should be enough. We can zoom in a little bit so you can sort of see where we're at. And so there we go. And one of the other things we do, I shot this in Anita Arena is in chat, so you can poke catch. Very cool with that. You can see right here the footage is very square, but you have a black bars on either side of it, right? With that, so if you want to see what it looks like full screen, you can see here. A little bit more of what it looks like full screen. And so you can see it's almost like an old school format that I shot in. And what's cool about it is all these videos I'm shooting in two different directions right now. So I make a full length video that's widescreen format 4K that I put on YouTube, and I also put a copy on Facebook as well. And then I shoot it as reels too. I recrop it, re-edit, retime everything as a reel, and pick the best 3 minutes of it and kind of make it an ad that I put on Instagram and on my TikTok channel, actually. So I don't really use TikTok that much, but I thought it'd be kind of a fun way for a different audience to see some of the stuff that we're doing. And so because of needing to shoot it for two different formats, I need to have the ability to shoot things taller than the normal widescreen format for the tall video, but I also need it to still be wide shot for the widescreen. So is TikTok still working? Yeah, yes, they brought it back. The president saved TikTok, and it was one of his great heroic actions at the beginning of his presidency. So, which I don't think it was an issue, but they kind of made it and pretended that it was going to be. All right, so I'm going to stretch this real quickly, grab it from the corners right here, and you can see now that it's stretched so that it's widescreen. And it's actually 4K widescreen still because it's shot at a much larger thing. So the GoPro can shoot up to 5K, and so you can shoot a much larger box than what you're actually doing. So even though this is zoomed to 162%, you can see here it's still very high quality and it's still 4K. Let me see if this will work like that. So you can still see that it's still very high quality. It's skipping a little bit here, but you can kind of see it there. But anyway, he was the biggest supporter of banning it. Exactly. He banned it only to save it to make himself look better, which is interesting. So anyway, you can see here that I can choose where the crop is. And one of the cool things about Final Cut is you can retime it. So for example, if I wanted to start here but end there or something over time, you can change that too. You can time it out using key points over here. Adding a keyframe will then make it so you can choose, so you could scale or you can zoom in on at times. You can zoom out that way through pictures. You can move the position of it over time, and you can even change the rotation if you wanted to like spin it around or do other fancy things like that. So anyway, so you can see here we're starting and we're gonna drop into the water. And so sometimes I just end it with a splash, but I think I'll just end it with the bubbles. Let me see here. And we'll blade it there. And then I'll go straight from there to this. So what I'm going to do right here is we have two songs and they're going to get jumbled in the timeline. And I know that I'm not going to need this song until much further along. So we're going to slide it all the way to the end. And we're just going to work with the first track first, and then we will bring in the second audio track as well. Hopefully there'll be a change of scenery or a change of theme when we do it. Also, part of what I like to do with this is you can see that it's almost perfect, that it's like a 5-minute space. So I kind of want to think when I'm editing this, what happens if I wanted to get it from 5 minutes down to 3? And then that will be a reel. And I can actually get 2 reels or commercials out of one video because it's a 10-minute video, and I'll make it into 2 3-minute reels. And I find that those 2 3-minute reels end up doing much better on social media these days with the current algorithms than the longer form video. But I still want to have the longer form dive video to continue the story, to do the interactive video that we were talking about before. So I like to have both. But it's something I'm thinking about in my head is how to design it so that the footage in this 5-minute piece will also be in that first 3-minute reel that'll be for this song, and then the second 5 minutes will have another 3-minute reel with the second song. And then on top of that, I want to have a wide variety of footage in the movie, this 10-minute movie. It's all going to be linear and told in order, but when I do the reel, I choose within those 5 minutes of footage that I've already got, I will rearrange it to make the most interesting and impactful things happen first, to try to draw you in. It's kind of a technique with Reels, and then show some of the other stuff for after that. So I'm kind of thinking about editing 2 different timelines, actually 3 different timelines at once. So it's the full video in order, and then finding enough highlights and clips to make an interesting 3-minute video in that. So we're looking here. This is kind of from above, looking around. I'm not sure any of that's gonna stay, but we'll just keep on going through. And right now we're gonna quickly just sort of slowly cycle through this stuff just to see what we've got here. So there's a cool pufferfish here. So I like this as a jumping off point. And then maybe that just becomes this very small cut there. And then what else do we got? Clearly, most of this is just dead footage. So sometimes I'll just leave it rolling, and then if I catch something later, I will. But it looks like I thought I turned off the camera, and then I had not, which is fine because we need to cut a lot of dead air anyway. So I'm looking here. What is this? I'm just looking at some of the different footage of what we got here. All right, so this is all leading up to a stingray. So they see it in the distance. They're notifying me. I honestly think I'll probably cut almost all of that up to this point. So I'll probably cut this too. So I don't know if I'm gonna keep any of this. All right, I mean, this is kind of cool. I'm gonna see what happens if I like fast forward it, because it's too much lead up and not enough time with the thing. So, but what you can do here is you can retime it, and I've shot this at enough resolution that you can do it where you can time it faster, slower. So, oops, that's not the right direction. I want to do it. It's gonna be a little choppy right now because it's unrendered. So I kind of like that effect. I'm gonna let it render and see if it like looks decent when it's rendered. So yeah. All right. Sorry, it's doing a little render real quickly, and it should be nearly done. All right, this is done now. All right, I think it's rendering something different now. There's a background renders and stuff like that too. So. That's kind of cool. All right, let's scale it up and see what it looks like zoomed in, which we kind of have to do for all these other shots too. All right. It might be too shaky where it's not worth doing this, but we will see. All right. View playback. I'm gonna grab water real quickly. I'll be right back. I'm gonna let you see this cool unedited shot. Looks pretty cool so far. Definitely won't hold it for this long, but I just wanted to give you guys a sense of it unedited. All right, so it's probably, I mean, it lifts away here. It's kind of like a logical breaking point, even though I know that we get more footage. All right, so let's just take it there. If anyone has any questions about video editing or any of this stuff, I'm always happy to answer them as well. Let's make this bigger so it goes into the widescreen. There, I got this footage here. I don't know. Trying to decide whether I need any of this stuff. It's cool that we meet the fish, but I don't know if that's important. Let me see here. All right, we'll cut this part out. We'll keep some of this in here though. I think it's sometimes helpful to see the descent. Alright, and then we got this part right here. What are we looking at? Is that an eel? I don't remember what we saw here. Let's see. Oh, it's a grouper. There's a grouper under there. That's kind of cool. All right, so I also have to decide how many of my dad's photos I want to use for this as well. Because he sent me some. All right, let me see if I can download all of these photos into something that we can look at together as well. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get, there's a lot of photos here. All right, I think I got all of them now. All right, let me see here. So these are some of my dad's photos that I was thinking about utilizing in this as well. Sometimes I feature my dad's photos that he shoots underwater in my dive videos as well. And so welcome in that guy Alex from on YouTube. I'm streaming, simul streaming on YouTube, Kick, and on Twitch. For people who didn't know, but welcome into the pop-up art stream. That guy Alex. I appreciate you watching. Yeah, I don't usually do a lot of art streams. I'm thinking about maybe in the future doing more of them, and yeah, I appreciate you for joining in. We're looking at some of my dad's photography from this dive that I'm going to try to find ways to embed into the video that I'm designing right now. So I'm just showing off some of his great photo work that he did on this dive. And yeah, some pretty cool stuff. So a lot of these are similar. I would only use like one or two of them, but just going through them. See here some of the different pretty cool fish. This is a cool lobster shot right here. Ah, I wonder if this is... No, it looks like a different type of grouper. Wow. I love these squid shots. Pretty cool. Thank you so much, Alex. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I love his photography. That's one of the reasons I got inspired to do scuba videos in the first place. Yeah. No, so I can sort of go through some of the fish types if you want to. This is a queen angelfish right now, one of my favorites. It's blue and yellow, very vibrant. So those are the photos. Here we're back to some of the other footage. You can see I caught up to this ray again. So I'm just going through here. Right now we're kind of in hack and slash mode, where we're gonna go through the footage and take out all the really bad stuff, because obviously I shoot almost the whole dive, and yeah, it's really kind of cool. So you can see my dad's taking pictures of the ray here, and I don't remember, did any of those? Oh yeah, here. And here's the shots that we got. So what I'll probably try to do eventually is line up the video and the photos to come together. And yeah, so it's it should be kind of a cool thing when it's all said and done. I have an entire channel dedicated to scuba videos. Let me see if I can, if I put it here. I think. Let me know if this shows up in your chat as well on YouTube. But I think if I type it in on Twitch, it shows up on yours. And what got me into art? I was an art major actually, and I studied video editing in college. And I've always been super interested in making interactive films and video. And I've been into scuba diving since I was 16. And so for the last 11 years, I try to once a year do a documentary film about it, where in parts it's music from different Twitch musicians. And then I take their music and I retime the footage to fit the music. Yeah, so it's kind of a cool way to keep these dives and remember them, because a lot of these dives are really fun, but they end up, you forget about them, after a while. And so it's kind of cool to have an archive and go back through them. And I was explaining earlier that the end card of every YouTube video, you can either continue the story that you're already on, or you can go to another related dive video from another part of the world, or maybe that location 5 years earlier, and things like that. So there's a lot of cool things you can do with YouTube and making things interactive, and I love that. And so I've ended up over the last 17 years making 600 YouTube videos, some of them for my sports podcast, some of them for concerts I've gone to, and then some of them for doing these scuba videos. But yeah, no, I appreciate you checking me out. You can always feel free to, you're on YouTube already, after the video, take a look at some of the other stuff that I've done. It's been super fun. And yeah, I could be a film maker like James Cameron. You could be analytical about reading people. I can read art better. I totally understand. I work for a school for kids with learning differences, so I totally understand people on the spectrum and stuff like that. And welcome on in, Bula Acoustic, with the raid. So I appreciate you bringing in a bunch of our friends. I was actually modding Bula earlier. He's a great musician from south of Brazil, and so I appreciate him for bringing in friends from all over. And welcome into Cover Time Pete, and welcome in XX Silkwood. And yeah, I appreciate you all, Scat Cat, and everybody for coming in. I'm doing a little bit of a pop-up stream. I'll be streaming for the next 30 to 40 minutes, and then I got to go pick my kids up. But they're currently at a... my wife works for a burn boot camp, and so they have a kids play area, and so they're playing with friends. We had a snow day here, so they haven't really had a lot of time with other people, other kids today. So I thought it'd be fun for them to go there, let off some steam, give me some time, and I had an hour to do a quick little stream. So I thought I would do this. I totally understand. It's his birthday, but I hope that. Thank you so much, Scott. I hope that he had a great birthday, and I'm wishing him a happy birthday as well. I appreciate you all for coming through. And yeah, it's right now I'm working on a scuba diving video, so I'll show you guys where we're at so far a little bit. Today we're kind of doing the first steps, which is going through the footage and chopping out all the really bad stuff, and then I pare it down, and we're trying to get it to a 10-minute long video. That's the full length video. It'll be made up of 2 5-minute halves. So for each song, there's 2 songs I'm featuring from Dan Tremblay in this one, both from the Sunset Echoes album. And then So today I'm going to cut out all the bad stuff that I don't need. And then the next episode of me doing this will be actually in 2 weeks when I'm doing my sports podcast. We're taking off next Monday for President's Day. But the following one, I'm hoping to have the Stream Scribe join me and maybe some other friends as well. Thank you, Kings Bay. Thank you for joining in on the raid. And Sherry Blood, welcome on in. So I appreciate you guys all. And Scat Cat, I totally understand. But thank you guys all for tuning in for a little bit. But basically, what I'm doing is trying to make 2 5-minute videos that are in one 10-minute video, and then I will make them into 3-minute reels. Each of those 5-minute parts. And right now I'm editing horizontally, but eventually I'll edit them vertically for the reels. So each piece of footage you see here is squared off, so I can cut it to be a tall video, or I can zoom in on certain parts of it and make it a wide video. Um, um, So I really appreciate everyone for tuning in, and just for timing, I'm going to jump into doing some of these this edits here. We were just looking at my dad's photos. I'll scroll through it really quickly. So some of these photos I will be integrating into this video as well. So I feature a lot of my dad's photography. He's the one who inspired me into doing this. He takes beautiful underwater photos. He actually got a GoPro about 12 years ago and was taking some video with it, but wasn't really into video editing like I am. So he ultimately gave it to me. And for the next 9 years, I shot with that. And then recently, not this Christmas, but the last Christmas, I got a 4K upgrade to it about 8 or 9 years later. And so that's the GoPro 12, and it lets you shoot in the super high definition thing where I can actually zoom in on this box and it's still 4K even when I zoom in. So welcome on in, Electrifying Radio. Thank you so much for everybody for tuning in. So I was just telling everyone Electrifying Radio that I'm hopefully getting maybe Carlo to do a co-stream with me and join me in doing some more of this edit. Not this upcoming Monday, but a week from that. What is that? That's the 24th of February. So the 17th is President's Day. I'm taking that off. I'm actually going to be in Texas. I leave on the 14th, and I come back on Monday when I usually am streaming. I'm actually landing in the airport. So, all right, we're going to take a quick look at some of this footage here. So here's my dad taking pictures of this puffer. So I don't need as much of this buildup, so I will take away some of this and chop that part off. This is a cool shot of the stingray. I don't know if I need it from this far away, so maybe cut it here. Oops. All right, so that's kind of cool there. We're going to chop it here and take away that part. And then, all right, we're going to have a blade here. There's a cool lobster that's out. I had to reorient myself in the diving. So one of the things that you don't see in the footage, obviously, because I cut it out, is to be able to get these shots, you have to get neutral buoyant. So you got to kind of float. I'll explain it in a second. I'm going to try to catch this Pokemon. Pokey Catch Great Ball. Ralts, one of my favorite Pokemon, has just appeared in chat, and you can see it above my video there. So you can throw a Pokeball if you are in Twitch chat, or Pokey Start if you haven't ever played the Pokemon game before. Let's says, I love everything underwater like this. That's awesome. Well, I hope that you get a chance at some point to watch the documentary. I'll do my scuba command here in chat, but you can click that link and it's got the latest documentary and then last year's documentary below it, and then some of my other favorite dives. My very favorite one, if you only have time to watch one video of the over 50 I have, is the Manta Ray Hawaii dives. That was one of my favorite. I really also love the night dive from this year and from last year. Last year's one features Emily Henry music, and this year's is just a really cool one that includes some really cool shots of an octopus, which is my wife's dream to see an octopus on a dive, and so that was really cool. Actually, maybe I can, hold on, can I get this? I can switch screens here. Let me see if I can get this. That's an eating crab. Oh, here we go, right there. Play full screen. So this is an example of the reel that I shot. So I re-edit these for reels for Instagram, and so this is from the Instagram reel. So somebody else I was with actually was shooting with an iPhone in an underwater housing and took a shot of this, and I retimed it and remade it so because he's not so used to shooting underwater, where he was a little jerky with it. So I used some I straightened it out over time kind of thing, and I did some stuff like that, and it's cool. And thank you for the follow, War Dancer. And uh, I really appreciate you for joining us in here and stuff like that. Hawaii looks so crisp. Yes, yes. Hawaii is great. This footage right here is actually done in Grand Cayman. This so every Christmas we spend in Grand Cayman, where we rent a house for my parents and my in-laws and my wife and my kids and I all get to stay under one roof, and we do a bunch of dives, and that's the basis for the documentary I shoot every year. So this guy was really cool though, and it's cool to be able to slow it down and look at the colors here. So yep, so that is that one. Wait, is it this one that was? Yeah, so I retimed it in this. So this was my footage of the octopus, which got kind of washed out. It's kind of hard to see it a little bit, but you can kind of see him right in this area. The other shot was better. Let me just see if I got one other shot. There was one other really cool shot of the octopus. Let me see. Oh, well, this is kind of a cool shot too. This is the crab. We actually got a video of it eating. And so that was pretty cool as well. Yeah, here it is. So check out this. Let me view it full screen so you guys can see it big. You can see he's actually feeding himself, which is so cool. So this is another shot done by the iPhone that I retimed. And so it goes right into this octopus shot, which you can kind of see I focus in right here. And these are giant fish, by the way. And so this guy's going and crawling through here. So you can kind of faintly see it. I zoom in a little bit, and so you can kind of see his face in this area. The footage is a little bit not super clear because I had to take some of this render footage away to make room for this new one. But you can see here, that's the full wide shot of the octopus as well. So some cool stuff there. All right, so back to what we were working on now. So yeah, lots of fun stuff there. Oh, that's so cool that octopus are your favorite animal. Actually, my favorite is stingrays, which you can already see that I was featuring pretty heavily earlier in the footage right there. But octopus are definitely in one of the tops for me for sure. So this is my dad's following this ray over here. So let's go back over to this one so you can see I spent some time with him here. And then let me zoom in a little bit on the timeline. And yes. And I saw your comment about Pokemon also, that guy Alex on Facebook. Yeah, or it's not Facebook, I'm sorry, on YouTube. And I'm a huge Pokemon fan. It's something that I'm like really big into. And something I do a lot with my son is play a lot of Pokemon games. So let's see what this footage is. What are we looking at? The great reveal of it. I don't know if we need all this build up though, so I'm going to get rid of all of that. And we're going to see this. So That's kind of a cool shot there. We're gonna add a blade here. There's two, so there's one down below and there's one up above. So maybe we'll try to get some footage coming back up here. I don't know if I'll keep that. It is pretty cool. I don't. Maybe that transition is better. So we see at the top here, we blade this, and now we're going down and looking at the bottom guy. Yeah. All right. I don't know if we'll keep all of that, but I'll keep most of it for now, and then we can come back to it later. All right. What are we seeing in this shot here? Clearly trying to track after something. What is it? I have no idea. I think it might be another ray. But we have so many ray shots already. I'm not going to worry about these two shots here. So we've already cut a bunch of footage here. So we're trying to cut it was 39 minutes into 10 minutes. So far we have 33 minutes. So we still have a lot of cutting still left to do. But this again is the first take where I just chop off the worst parts and then I go back and then I still have to do some fine tuning to it. So I don't need my dad's lead up. So he's following this. We got our cool shot of the stingray, and it goes away. Sort of trim that there. And then what do we got here? Oh, there's a cool puffer fish there. We can grab him. I don't think I need any more of that. All right, and then we go look at this. What are they looking at? I think my dad's looking at some cool crabs and stuff, which I might keep some of this footage because if he's shooting that crab or maybe it was a shrimp, I can take his picture that I have on his photos back over here, and I can then add it in where he's talking about it. So these photos won't stay there. I'm going to move them to the corresponding video, so got him looking at this. I don't think I need both of these. I think that there's enough here. I might keep a little bit of the shot as well, just to hold on to it for a little bit. One of them will probably stay and one of them will probably go. And then we got this next shot right over here. What do we got? Oh, cool, a file fish. Those are always fun. So we're going to blade this, take that away, and we're going to take a look at this file fish. And then I'm going to add a blade marker there, so there's another file fish there. All right, I'm going to take off this middle part. I might use some of the other footage. All right, so we're continuing through here. Well, that's a really rare fish right there. I'm trying to remember its name. It's my dad got a good picture of it though. So I'm going to definitely get some of that. So we're going to play it here. Oh, all right. This is the guy that we need. So this is a funny story. So this fish right here is called a hogfish. And it's kind of a rare fish, actually. And we were able to encounter hogfish a couple of times in this journey. And let me zoom in on this hogfish for a second while I talk about them. The hogfish has kind of a unique look to them. And the Spanish hogfish is actually one of my wife's favorite fish, but that's a very different looking fish than this one. This one has a cool creature kind of growing on his back, right? And then, let me see here. Is this the one that's got the jaw that's on the outside of his mouth? Yep, it is. So you can see right here, his jaw is actually on the outside of his mouth, and that's not what normally is. And so this fish is actually well known in the area, and we saw this fish at a different dive site. I want to say it's part 6 of this documentary. I'll have to go back and check that. But on an earlier dive site that's actually pretty nearby. And we then did a dive, I don't know, 6 days later, and at the adjacent dive site, so the next dive site over, which is like close but not that close, but obviously you could swim from one to the other. We came across them again, so it's kind of cool that we got to meet the same fish twice in our journey. And so I'm definitely going to highlight him, and then maybe do something with a time code directing people to the first time that we see him as well. It's just rare that you can know that it's the exact same fish, because fish all look similar, but B, that we then ran into them again. Here's a lobster that's walking around again, which is always kind of a fun and creepy thing. I don't think I need this additional footage. We'll look at something from here. I think we'll take some of the zoom away, so we'll just, there we go. And this is, I think it's a tobacco fish, possibly. So that's cool. I'll definitely grab that. Some of this coral looks pretty cool too, so I might keep a little bit of that in there. I don't know, it might go away. A little bit back. And then you see the tobacco fish again. I don't know. We might keep some of that, we might not. All right. Oh yeah, we're following that puffer. That's always cool. What are we looking at here? Oh, these are the squid. Squid are always so cool. All right, let's backtrack this and zoom in and see what we got here. So all of these we'll have to scale in and zoom in at some point. But for this, we're gonna do it right now because I want to see them up close. Play full screen. I agree. The creatures do look like alien life. And in fact, if you actually go back and look at the manta ray video that's on my scuba playlist, which again I was talking about earlier is my favorite video, those really look like they're on a different planet. And so you can see the squid are above, and my dad's taking some awesome pictures of those squid. So cool to see all of them. I love how squids swim. They're really cool creatures. So these are the same squid that you see earlier in my dad's photos. Let me see if I can pull those up. Hold on, sorry, I have a lot of photos here. Oh, here they are, right there. So that's a cool shot that he got. All right, so you can see right here. So those are some pretty cool shots of that. So we'll link those up to here as well. It's my dad taking a picture of here. Let's see. Oh, it's a puffer fish. Cool. What am I following? I'm following a queen angel. Oh, it's a family of queen angels. They often do travel in pairs or in triplets. Let's see here. Cool. All right, so we spend more time following different queen angels there. And so I think the queen angels will be featured heavily in the second reel and second video. All right, we got about 10 minutes left of this stream, and then I gotta go run and pick up the kids. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Oh, Katniss, welcome on in, and also Wingster. Got to take your meds and rest. See you soon, Robin. Yeah, yeah, no problem. I was just showing a little bit of the scuba video edit, and hopefully Carlo will join me in 2 weeks to do a on the 24th. It'll be a Monday at about 10:30 Eastern. We'll do a cool chat with him while we edit some scuba footage. Oh, the Rookedy escaped. I didn't even see that. Oh, welcome. I didn't even see it. There was a raid. I am so sorry, Katniss. I was so into talking about the fish. But welcome in, Wingster and Watsy, and Kai Hera, and everybody else. I'm doing a quick little edit here. Yeah, but I really appreciate you guys all for tuning in and being a part of the stream. And yeah, so I'm just showcasing some of my dad's photos, and we're editing down the footage to match there as well. So you can sort of see how that's going to look here. We can take a look at it full screen. Whoa. Gary Lucas music. This is the most raids I think I've ever on a stream. Holy moly. Welcome in, Gary. Got Gary Lucas music, an awesome music streamer who I love. Yeah, I think this is the first time that Gary's ever gotten to raid me because I've and it's kind of late for you over on in Europe, so I'm impressed that you're still streaming. But welcome on in, friends, and Letty Games, Type Faster Joel. We got Moonlight Alice. We got Chris Swan. Is it Mako NL? But welcome on, everybody. I'm doing a scuba edit right now. We've got. You can see right here, we're chasing stingrays and putting it to Dan Tremblay music, so you can get a little sense of what it looks like. This is the very first steps, though, of editing a dive video. I'm just going through all the footage, chopping out all the stuff that's terrible, and trying to figure out. It'll be a one long 10-minute video with 2 songs featured by Dan in there, and then I will cut it into 2 3-minute reels that will exist on Instagram that I'll release over time as well. Those will be vertical videos, and so I'm editing in 2 different timelines. Right now I'm doing the horizontal full-length in order video. The reels will be a little bit more whatever is catching your eye first kind of thing, because it's a little bit different for different platforms. But welcome on in, everybody. Yes, I filmed this, and yeah. Oh, wow, that's cool. I need to edit a dive video as well. So that's my problem, is when I'm on the trip, I shoot a video every day, and then I edit it like the next day, and I get them out like clockwork. But then I get home and I get very busy with life, and so this is actually the 9th part of a scuba documentary that I'm working on. If people would like to see the whole thing, I would love them to subscribe to my YouTube channel. But there's a link in chat now that goes to the playlist that plays the first 8 videos in order. 7 of them are scuba diving videos. 1 is a family snorkeling vlog. This was in Grand Cayman. So my parents and in-laws and wife and kids all share a house every Christmas and New Year's in Grand Cayman. And so the last couple of years, I've been shooting a documentary each year, and so it's cool. Some of the locations we've seen 5 out of the last 7 years. I had to take 2 years off because they didn't allow my kids in during COVID. But anyway, but the other years we've documented some of these same sites over and over again, and it's kind of fun to see how they've changed over time. This is in Grand Cayman. This is the last dive of the last dive day. So it was the 30th, I want to say it was, of December is when I shot this. And we're using music from Dan Tremblay Music. Let me do a shout out for him. Let me see. So he's phenomenal. I highly recommend everyone go follow him if they don't. And there's the other shout out. But so yeah, here we can take a look at some of the footage. And I'll lower my breathing sounds in the final edit. I try to find a way to have a balance between breathing sounds and the natural water sounds and the music, and I will flow through that. Nice. Enjoy your snacks, Gary. So I started diving when I was very young. I was probably about, I know this. I think my dive card says was in 2000, so about 25 years. I too want fries. So that's my wife. So she's showing me that there's something under here, which is cool. There actually is. It's a, let's see here. It's kind of hard to see here. I'll edit some of this out, but you'll see in a second. I'll readjust myself. And you can see there's a grouper there. This is pretty cool. So I'll trim a lot of this stuff and take out some of the sounds of the camera moving and stuff like that. But yeah, there's some cool stuff in there. Some cool tiny shrimps in here. These are some of the pictures that I'll be focusing on that my dad took. He's an underwater photographer, and he's the guy who inspired me to do this. And so I'm going to show some of the behind the scenes of how he shoots some of these photos as part of the movie. I really love the squid. And so that'll be really fun. So I just wanted to show you guys maybe that part real quick again. It's a squirrelfish. Sorry, I'm skimming ahead here. Here it is. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm using a new GoPro 12. It's great because it shoots in 4K. And you can see here I'm actually shooting it in square. And then I can adjust where it is. And then the other advantage is when I switch to vertical, then you can do that too. So for example, here, oops, the night dive is a good example. I was showing this footage earlier of this octopus that we got in the night dive, and but you can see here is one of the reels that I was shooting vertically. So I'm trying to I shot it square using this new feature of the GoPro 12, which shoots it. It's 4K kind of stacked on top of each other, so it's like two 4K shots wide that make a square, if you will. And then I'll have more height to work with if I need a tall shot, and then I also have more width if I need a wide one, versus trying to shoot it wide or tall, if that makes any sense what I just said. But yeah, so that's why I shoot it this way. And so that way, when I get to shooting the vertical, I can just chop off these parts right here. And yeah, it's definitely hard to shoot it. And I have a lot of practice before I was actually going to get into how I shoot some of this. So you have to achieve neutral buoyancy through diving. And what neutral buoyancy is when you have enough air in your BCD to counterbalance the weight that you're wearing. And so that way, when you breathe in, you go up, and when you breathe out, you go down. And basically, you feel like you're flying. And so I've gotten to be able to study my breathing techniques so much that I can breathe in and zoom out as I'm floating away, or breathe out and zoom in as I get closer, right? And so that way I can keep steady and use my breath to control the camera, if you will. And do I use a filter directly on the GoPro, or how do I post edit? Yes, great question. I use a red filter on top of my GoPro. So it's a looks like a red lens that you pop on top of it, because what people don't realize is once you go down below 33 feet, you lose the color red. So I'm artificially adding it back in with that filter on top of it, and so it actually adds the redness that you wouldn't see naturally here. Everything would look washed out in blues and greens. And for every 10 to 15 feet, you lose a color. So you lose red and orange first, and it goes through Roy G. Biv, like the color spectrum in a rainbow, and you lose those colors in that order. And yeah, so I find the red filter is very good. In saltwater, you use one color red filter. In freshwater, you use a different color one. So that's something it's almost more like a purple color in freshwater. So different salinities affect how light is done, and it's so much better because I love that this auto white balances has motion sensing in it, so it helps sort of with the correction a little bit. And by adding the red filter to the front of it, it eliminates my need of doing post-production. The only video I did a lot of post-production for was the night dive, because trying to get the lighting and all that to work correctly, and we were using 3 different cameras for that dive, so I had to try to rebalance and redo that. So that's the one that I really had to change up a lot. I didn't do any color grading or color scaling for any of the other ones so far, and the footage has been great, but it is interesting to see the difference between this being shot through natural light and only using my flashlight to spot things and add the natural color back in. And then my dad has a strobe on his camera, 2 of them actually, and so they're pointed down at it. And so his macro photography is great because it's basically shooting it with a burst of light from both directions, and so you get a much more natural looking shot of what they actually look like. So you can see some of that here. It's quite stable. It can be hard with GoPro sometimes. Yeah, the 12 is better with the stabilization settings, but I do have to say I've now shot videos for 20 years, and so I luckily have a fairly stable hand, especially underwater, and so that helps a lot because I have to often correct other people's underwater footage. So it's a combination of the camera settings and also a lot of practice. And also sometimes when there's some shake, to know when to slow the footage down or speed it up to try to hide it. Also with shake, you can reposition and transform in Final Cut. So sometimes I'll actually move the position of the camera up and down to compensate if there was a shake in it. So you can do some post-production work to try to mitigate some of that. What's great about shooting it the way that I did in this full frame, sort of double 4K size, is I'm also shooting at 60 frames a second, which is twice as much as you need. And so that means I can slow it down to 50% without having any loss of quality. So there's moments where I'll just go into slow-mo and you'll see a fish slowly go through, and which is a really cool effect. But you do have to be pretty stable if you're going to try to rely on that. So often my footage is shown at sometimes 90%, so not quite full speed, but just a little bit slower. And then certain moments I actually speed up as well. So if you speed up footage, you really need to be not jerking it around too much, or you'll get motion sick. So those are some of the different things that we're doing there. So you can see right here, I love these Queen Angels. They are beautiful. And yeah, I think I'm gonna be almost done with this stream. I was doing a pop-up stream, did not expect to get so many amazing raids, but I really appreciate everybody for joining in and being a part of this conversation. Gary, Katniss, thank you for the follows, Bula as well. So 3 raids in 35 minutes is definitely the most I've ever gotten. And yeah, thank you, Gary, so much for joining in and showing this off to people. While I look for a raid, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put on one of the videos that you usually get from the coming soon screen. And so you should still be able to hear me a little bit, but you get a sense of what a final video looks like. And so I'm going to look for a raid target right now while you watch. This is the first video in this series. If people want to go back and check it out, again, you can do it here. And also a Pokemon in chat if anybody wants to catch that. Oops. Yes, I definitely want to get back there. It's always tough, and that's why I make these movies, because that way it helps me in the 11 months between diving trips be able to relive some of it. Thank you so much. Yeah, Dan does an amazing job with his ambient music. I hope that everybody checks out Dan Tremblay music for sure. There's some incredible stuff. For us using the new bot, and you can grab the regular thing, or you can get the cool one with some of the videos and the emotes that I've designed. So you can use one of these new commands. I'm trying out a new bot. I'm having fun with it. And yeah, so hopefully if anybody wants to see more of this video, we can you'll come back in a little bit in about a week and a half's time. Oops, sorry. We will be back, and hopefully with the Stream Scribe in a couple of weeks to finish this video, or at least work more on it. That'll be on the 24th. The diving part will be at 10:30. The sports podcast will be at 9. And yeah, so definitely grab a raid call. And oh, thank you for, yes, this is from the Meteora Shore.